Hello, everybody. This is my topic on aging and gender. I mainly tried to focus on articles that just had age and gender mixing and see how they'd compare. But a couple of the articles were one sided, sadly, mostly focusing on women rather than the comparison of both. So, my first article I went over wasn't, or I did, was caring. It was basically caring for the elderly, and a lot of them, a lot of women, um, a lot of women are forced into these roles of caring for the elderly when it should be, I think it should be the responsibility of the whole family to care for an older person. We're socialized to think that women are more caring, but is that really true? What I found in my research is that a lot of women, when they do this, they start getting depressed and anxious, and especially since they don't have a job, they're being they're being treated kind of like as if the work they're doing is no work, because they're caring for a family is technically not an actual job because they're not being paid for it. This also affects their income, like because they're having to stay at home and watch these older people, or possibly not getting into. Oh, this, I think this is a separate topic, but even if it's just a child that maybe needs to be taken care of, um, that's income they're not getting. So if they don't have help when they get older and they're retired, they're gonna be struggling with money. It's just sad that they're forced into a role like this, but uh, it doesn't have to be that way. If somebody steps up and decides, no matter their gender or age, I guess, or as long as they're an adult, I feel like anybody can do it to help. Our next topic was on health of gender and aging. I went into the medical differentiation of like men and women to see how it changes, at least especially when they're older or younger. As sometimes I've found some, well, like more. If I look at this, I've found some. There's some viruses, or I guess sicknesses, that affect people differently based off their gender and age. Such as, like, I have an example here: women with myocardial infarction have a higher death rate at a young age, while men have it at an older age. I would think that overall, elderly in general are more are more susceptible to getting sicknesses because their bodies are weaker and old. They're worn out from living so long. And on average, women live longer than men. At least by, or what I found is that it's 5 years, but I don't know exactly. I think maybe the case too is from experience at work. I mean, this could be different for every person. I have to do a lot of hard work because I'm male bodied, but a lot of the women at work do easier tasks that aren't as straining on their body. So I guess that could be a reason, but I don't know how many women would actually be doing more physical hard work. That's most of the stuff, or the main stuff, that I've gotten from my on the health article I had found. On to my last one, I did a really interesting one. I didn't think I'd find something like this, but it's on cyber sickness. Cyber sickness is basically, it's a sickness that you get when you play in virtual reality, because like I've experienced it myself because I have a VR headset. Um, uh, After a while of using it, you get used to it, but like sometimes when you're moving inside VR but your body's not moving, you'll freak out, or you'll mentally freak out. Or even the other day, I was playing and I was getting like large motions, and I was standing up, and it really messed me up. Just if it freaks you out because like you see yourself moving but you're not. Even just like a quick movement of the head can mess you up, just because. just because you're not comfortable with what you're watched or what you're doing. VR is a really weird thing. It's really interesting. So in the article I read, they were tested on like in sections. First was around like 5 to 10 minutes, I believe, and most of the elderly and older people were fine. But I believe the kids, it would really like younger kids, like I think 5 to 12. That's what would that they would experience cyber sickness. But then once they started doing longer sessions, like 20 to 30 minutes, that's when it started to hit effect on the elderly, while the younger people around like uh, I'd say 20 to 50 would be fine. But the longer each group, or I guess cohort of people would experience a like the longer they'd go, they experience the longer it gets, they just it starts messing with them, and they can't they it starts the cyber sickness starts hitting them from being in virtual reality so long. I was surprised to find out that elderly people were actually able to stay on for a while without getting cyber sickness so easily. Well, I guess it's not the same for everybody, but as long as most of them were. As far as the gender goes for this one, it was the same for, or at least mostly the same. It was saying that it was mostly the same for everybody. But like I said, every person is different, so they react to things differently. But yeah, that's my last one. It was really interesting learning about these. But sorry for my for doing this on my phone. I'm very bad with computers, and uh sorry.